Hi, so today is a very exciting day. Along with this reaction video, I want to tell you about an opportunity that I had recently. Oscar Barnett asked me to be on his podcast called Happy Talk, and I was thrilled to accept. The link to the podcast is down below, and you can find it on Spotify. Let me tell you a little bit about Oscar, who reached out to me because of the channel. I'll read to you from his bio on Spotify. He says, "My name is Oscar Barnett. I'm an autistic actor, comedian, pub quiz host, storyteller, and writer. And this is my Happy Talk podcast. In every episode, I am joined by a special guest and go over 5 things that make them happy." So that's what it was. And this channel and you guys definitely featured heavily. So, again, if you'd like to hear that, the link is right down below. As you will find if you decide to listen to the podcast, Oscar is a big fan of Postman Pat. And so, to say thank you to Oscar for a really lovely conversation, I've decided to do a little review here of season 1, episode 1 of Postman Pat. Now, a little caveat in full disclosure, there were some technical issues. There's a little bit of a problem with the microphone, but if you can stick with it, it was a lovely conversation and I had a wonderful time. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more about me and the things that make me happy, please go ahead and click down below and take a listen to that podcast. But either way, let's go ahead and watch season 1, episode 1 of Postman Pat. And thanks again, Oscar. Oh, cute.
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. Early in the morning, just as day is dawning, he picks up all the post bags in his van. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing, and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Everybody knows his bright red van. All his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. Maybe you can never be sure there'll be knock, ring, letters through your door. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing, and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man.
Catchy, Brian.
Pat feels he's a really happy man. Pat feels he's a really happy man.
Boom, 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 boom. What a lovely day, said Pat to Jess as they drove along the valley on a fine sunny morning.
It's a good name.
They came into the village and stopped at the post office as they did every day to collect the letters. Good morning, Pat called. Morning, Pat, said Mrs. Goggins. Looks like a busy day for you. Lots of letters and parcels. Well, at least it's a nice day for it. That's odd, said Mrs. Goggins. Most of the post seems to be for Katie and Tom Pottage. Ah, but of course it's their birthday. Oh, so it is, said Pat. Won't they be excited when they see all these parcels? They are lucky. I remember when I was their age, waiting for the post. Hey, I'd better be on my way. They'll be looking out for me. Well, I'll be off. Goodbye. Boom, 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 boom.
I love that he knows his own theme song.
Pat was on his way.
I love this village.
Before going to the Pottages, he had to call at the village school. Some of the children had arrived early and were playing in the schoolyard. Bill Thompson came running up to take care of the letters till the headmaster came. He always did that because he was the oldest. Oh dear, right in a puddle. Sarah and Lucy Selby asked Pat if he was good at hopscotch because they'd just had new lines painted in the yard. Well, it's a long time since I played,
Go for it, Pat.
said Pat, but I'll have a go.
Yeah.
Let's see now. He was quite good at it. Whoops! Pat was enjoying the hopscotch so much he almost forgot the time. Hey, I'll have to be going. We can't have the post being late, can we? Especially today. Bye-bye, Pat. Goodbye.
These sets are amazing.
Pat turned in at Greendale Farm. Katie and Tom saw him coming and ran to meet him. They were so excited they couldn't wait to see what Pat had brought them. They're twins, you see, so it was a double birthday. Pat wished them a happy birthday, then took a letter to their mother.
Save it. Come in useful.
Tom's present was just what he wanted. But Katie didn't seem very pleased with hers.
Books on a doll.
What's up with Katie? Asked Pat. She's wrong side out today, said Mrs. Pottage. She's lost Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann? Is that the little doll she takes to school? She takes it everywhere. She's lost without it. I don't know what we'll do if it doesn't turn up.
Call the Flumps.
Oh, it's sure to turn up somewhere.
They'll know what to do.
Trouble is, it could be anywhere. We went to see Aunt Alice yesterday and called at lots of places. She could have left it anywhere.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry, I'll look for Sarah Ann, said Pat. I might come across her. I'm good at finding things, you know. We'll get her smiling again, you'll see. Cheerio. Come on, Jess. We've work to do.
What is this river? How are they doing that?
The next stop was the church. The Reverend Timms heard Pat's van coming. There was a card from Cousin Joan on holiday in Mallorca. Pat told him about Katie's
Nice.
lost doll. Oh, she could have lost it in the church, said Reverend Timms. She always brings it. Ah, well, seek and thou shalt find. Let's have a look. Mind your head. Found anything? Called Pat. Oh, yes, a bump on the head. At last, the Reverend Timms did find something, but it wasn't Sarah Ann. It was a lady's glove. It had the letters D.T. sewn inside. D.T., said Pat. Dorothy Thompson, that's whose it is, I'm sure. I'll take it along for her. She will be pleased. Well, I hope Katie's doll turns up somewhere, said the Reverend Timms. We'll just keep on looking till it does, said Pat. Thanks for helping. Cheerio. When Pat and Jess arrived at Thompson Ground, Mrs. Thompson was out with a basket collecting the eggs. She was surprised when Pat gave her a glove with her letters. "Well, I never," she said. "Where did you find this? I've been looking everywhere for it." Then Pat told her about Katie's doll. "I was looking in the church for it. The Reverend Timms found your glove instead. Now, let me see. Katie and her mother came to tea yesterday. She could have left her doll under a cushion. We'd better have a look."
Let's look in the house.
They searched everywhere. Mrs. Thompson found something, but it wasn't a doll. It was a penknife. "Hey, that looks like Ted Glenn's knife." "Goodness knows when he left it here," said Mrs. Thompson. "Would you take it along for him? He will be pleased to have it back." "Yes, I'll take it." "I do hope you find Katie's doll. We'll keep looking. See you tomorrow. Cheerio." Bye-bye, Pat. "What a day," said Pat to Jess. "We found a glove and a penknife, but no Sarah Ann. I wonder if there's any chance of finding her at Ted Glenn's." Ted Glenn was delighted to see his knife. He couldn't guess where Pat had found it. When Pat told him about Katie's lost doll, Ted said, "Hey, she was here yesterday with her mother. They brought a lamp to repair." So they went to look in Ted's workshop. They didn't find the doll, but Ted found a watch that he'd forgotten he had.
Enjoying yourself, Pat?
"That's Miss Hubbard's," he said. "She brought it to be mended ages ago. She must have forgotten all about it. Would you take it for a Pat?" "Certainly. I'm going that way." "I hope you find the lassie's doll," said Ted. "So do I," said Pat. "I seem to be able to find everything else. Bye, Ted."
Okay.
"So long, then."
It's so detailed. Everything about this village.
Miss Hubbard was shopping at Sam's mobile shop, whilst Sam was enjoying a cup of tea. Miss Hubbard was surprised to see Pat, and even more surprised to see her watch. Pat told them all about Katie's lost doll, but they hadn't seen it. "Poor Katie," said Pat, "and on her birthday too."
I want to know about
"I
this
know.
mobile shop.
I'll take her a box of chocolates. That'll cheer her up." "Ah, Sarah Ann. So that's where you've been hiding all this time." "It's Katie's doll," said Pat. "I found her when I wasn't looking for her, sitting behind the chocolates." Sam was amazed. That child gets everywhere. I'll take the chocolates anyway, said Pat. They'll make a nice birthday present. Cheerio. Here she is, Jess. Keep an eye on her. When Pat arrived at the twins' party with Sarah Ann and the chocolates, Katie gave a big smile.
Yeah.
The first that day. Jess joined in the party. And Pat had a piece of cake. Delicious, said Pat, but it's time we were off. Bye-bye, Pat. Bye. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good time.
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat.
Boom, 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 boom. Dum dum dilly dum boom, boom. Rum, boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 boom.
So many things. So many things. Let me start with the music. I was so impressed with the music, like even as it was happening, like the background music, it's so cozy, it's so warm, it's kind of energetic, but it's really kind of soft. And it's kind of the perfect backdrop to this unbelievably beautiful village that I don't know if it's modeled after a specific village or if it's just kind of like a conglomeration of like sort of a classic sort of English village. Gosh, this is like 1981. So, I mean, technology has advanced a little bit. Like, I think the individuals involved have advanced a little bit. The quality of what I'm seeing is like so high. The details of that village, each individual set piece, like getting that van sort of like down those streets and like, I mean, it's claymation, right? It's stop motion claymation. It's not any kind of digital anything. Like, it feels like sort of definitely the next level up of this kind of animation. I mean, it's just so skillfully done, really, really beautiful. And even like the people, the cat, you know, it's, yeah, it feels like we've gotten the practice runs, you know, out of this feels like the big time, like something very modern, really. And real, I mean, I feel like the British, I guess it's Wallace and Gromit that do this for you guys, but the British really kind of have like, they wear the crown when it comes to claymation. Like, we love some claymation, but it's a Christmas thing for us. Like, we roll out our claymation stuff when we're talking about the Abominable Snowman or Jack Frost or, you know, the Island of Misfit Toys. It's a very holiday themed kind of thing for us. We don't have, like, you guys, this is sort of like a part of, I think, like everyday programming or kids programming at least. And it shows, man, like that's a really, really skillfully made show. And the other thing that we talked about a little bit on the podcast, but also that I've reflected on a little bit more is like the role of the postman in British life. You know, I watched and reacted to another show that a lot of people have requested called Camberwick Green, and there's a postman who I think is the main character there. I wasn't able to show it because of copyright again. Like, it was struck for visibility and people can't watch it. So I was like, well, you know, literally nobody can see it, so I didn't continue on with it. But also, it's the same kind of idea where a postman is really the central character and you sort of follow them through the village and you meet all of the people in the village through this person. And I don't think that there's really a comparable relationship with like a postman in the United States. Like, the postman is someone who just kind of comes by and drops off your mail and keeps walking, right? But this thing where like they know everybody and they're involved in everything. I'm also reminded, I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, a podcast called British Scandal. And one of the reasons why is because I love the hosts. It's a man and a woman, Alison Levine and Matt Ford, I think. And they are hilarious together. I hope that they are really good friends in real life. It really seems like they are. But one of the stories that they did, which was talk about scandal, a heartbreaking scandal, was, I think, about like modern day post people and like a woman who I don't know. You tell me. I think she was kind of in charge of the local post office and was being told that she was stealing money from the post office when come to find out, like, no, she wasn't. There was this like glitch in this software. And the people who knew there was a glitch in the software like kept gaslighting her and everyone else about it and like pressed charges. And she was like, I mean, her life was completely destroyed because of this thing that people knew. The people who were in charge of it knew the entire time that it was not her. And like these other, like hundreds, I guess, of post people who they were accusing of theft. And they knew the whole time that it was actually this software. I mean, let me tell you, I was, talk about scandal. I was fully scandalized by that. And I mean, it's the kind of thing where I would classify it as like a Watergate style scandal, where like these institutions that are supposed to be taking care of these people are the very ones that are abusing them and then denying any culpability or responsibility about it, knowing the entire time that they were in fact responsible. And this scandal, I think that they were talking about, is from a few years ago. But I was thinking as I was recalling that it does kind of talk about this role, right, of a post person still being really important to a village and to village life and to the people of the UK. And I wonder if that is in fact still the case, because it seems like they don't just drop off the mail. Obviously, times have changed since 1981. The role of mail and the post has changed. I wonder, though, like what this particular job, what has it evolved into? Like what is still the same and what is different? Now that so much of this job has been automated or taken over by things on the internet. Postman Pat is a classic. I've never seen it before, but I do know about Postman Pat. I'm really glad that I saw that. What a beautiful show. I mean, incredible music and beautiful artwork. So this was a little bit of an homage to my friend Oscar. Thank you so much, Oscar. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.